Hi, my name is Austin Hardin, and I work for Dow Chemical as a process automation engineer. My job story. So, what I do for a living as a process automation engineer is that I program uh, different logic for plants in Dow Chemical in order to control uh, valves, um, pumps, and any other information that can be computerly controlled by a machine, well, a computer. Um, I chose this job because it was something that tied back into my love of programming when I was young, because I love video games, and programming was the way to go in order to do video games, uh, other than art. Uh, I love art too. uh, and also too because I have a big love of chemistry, and it allows me to use my education in chemical engineering and apply it every day. Um, what does my typical day work look like? Well, my typical day is that when I wake up, I drink some coffee. Uh, I read news, look into my interests and hobbies, just to get my mind uh, kind of going and thinking for the day after having a good night's sleep. Um, I start working on my first projects that have been assigned to me, and just pretty much through the day, just continue to work on them, test them, correct them, make sure there are no errors that will cause the program to not work. And also, too, any meetings that I have with other people discussing our projects and the work that I've done to meet with them. I also reach out and try to do volunteering, so it kind of applies to when I do my volunteering work and meet with other workers who are trying to volunteer in the community. What I love about my work, my work's pretty nice because I get to stay home on the weekend, which I couldn't do before, and it's pretty flexible where I can work from home, and also too I can work in the physical plant if I want to look at something up and close to understand it better. What did I want to be when I was in middle school or high school? Um, in high school, I wanted to be actually, well, a couple things. I learned about airplanes, and I wanted to be an airplane mechanic or engineer. Also, too, I'm big into cars, so I wanted to become a mechanic or a automotive engineer, working on cars, or as a mechanic, making cars go faster, or or just making my own cars. Um, but I say how it connects to where I'm today. In high school, um, chemistry was something that was pretty, pretty. I say I had a pretty good passion about. I had a good teacher in high school who was a good role model, and I was talented, really good at it. And I saw that chemical engineers allowed me, or being in chemical engineering allowed me to be close to my home in Houston, and also too, if I wanted to expand and go somewhere else, I could also do that too. Uh, and it wasn't too, uh, I guess, too complicated for me. At the time, was pretty complicated. which is dealing with things like torque and electricity. I really hadn't grasped it yet, so chemistry was something I did grasp back then. How many types of jobs have I had? I've had quite a few. Uh, I worked selling cars. I've done selling clothes. Uh, I used to call people from my university when I was in college, asking them for donations. So it gave me kind of a something to improve my social skills. Because in college, I was mostly just studying, so didn't really have time to talk to a lot of people. And then what job that I had? I was a process automation. No, sorry, I was a process operator, and I actually worked in plants, physically turning valves and writing permits and physically just checking out all the different systems. Did that all relate to my current position? Yes and no. As a salesperson, not so much, but I do have to sell my point of view to my other team members. So the skills that I had as a salesperson do help out, especially when I have to explain what I'm doing as an automation engineer. And as a process operator, working out in the field, it allows me to understand what the operators are doing when I program uh, anything in the code and logic uh, for the computers in the plant. Um, the first job that I had and how did I get hired? Well, the first job I had was actually through my college. I called alumni from Rice University and asked them for donations. And I did that for about a year and a half. And I got hired because they just put out an ad all over campus asking for people to apply, and that's how I got started with that. And it didn't hurt that it was a pretty relaxed atmosphere. We got to eat pizza, um, hang out with other people close to my age, so it wasn't too stressful, and so I had a lot of fun doing it. Um, what did I learn from my first job? Uh, what I learned from my first job that was positive is that I was able to talk to people that I didn't know and strike up conversations with them uh, in order to convince them to donate, maybe a little bit more than they would like, but it was for a good point uh, because it helped out other students go to my school with scholarships. So the first job in the field I still work in today, um, you can consider being an operator my first job in the field, um, and why I changed from being a process operator to process automation engineer. Being an engineer was something I went to school for. Being an operator is a physically demanding job. You're lifting and pushing heavy objects all day. You can work in pretty extreme weather um, where you're easily susceptible to getting tired or sick from working too hard and not taking care of your body. And also too, just the odd schedules where I would have to either work late at night or work weekends. So time with the family was very strained and difficult. Um, and then with process automation engineer, it allowed me to get into computers, and something I like. Um, so something that kind of surprises people when I tell them about my job. Um, Well, as a process automation engineer, um, it's pretty similar to what programmers do. So if I wanted to go into programming for video games, it's pretty pretty easy to do. Uh, the only difference between what I do at my job and say programming video games is just a tool that allows me to program the video game. So if I learn how to use the tool, then I can apply all the skills that I have in process automation into creating or modifying video games that I like. Let's see, what did my education path look like? Excuse me. And did your education guide you to your current career? Um, I guess my biggest path is that going in high school, I went to a high school that was engineering focused, so that definitely got me onto engineering. Um, I liked chemistry, and when I went to university, um, it was my first time being responsible for myself. So in my second year, I had to be more responsible with my time and how I spent it, working and um, using it to for personal personal things. So if I didn't do my work, or if I spent too long working itself, then things start to suffer. Uh, so I almost wasn't a chemical engineer because of the difficulty I had in college, but I was able to persevere and graduate later on. So the biggest thing I would say is that I use all my education and different things I learned over the years, like being an operator, to help me out in what I do now, especially operations. I can relate with anybody in the field because of what I used to do in the past. Um, the advice that I would give my younger self, I would tell my younger self, go with the things that you want to do early on, um, and try them out first, so you don't regret it uh, when you get older. Um, if I tried different things that I didn't get to do until later, like I didn't have the courage to go overseas um, until later. If I had done that a lot younger, I would have had a better worldview. Uh, it would have impacted my education, and also too, I could have done internships, which I didn't do in college because I was a little bit more trying to be independent and do things I liked, but it didn't help me out um, in my educational career. Let's see. And if there's anything else that if you wanted to learn about my career, well, I would say that if there's anything you can think of that you like, there's probably a job out there that already does it. It's just reaching out to someone like an adult or a teacher uh, who could who could look it up for you, so you could see yourself going on that path. And if you change later on in your life, you find something else you want to do, then you you kind of know that that new job that you want, it probably does exist. Like when I grew up, I didn't know uh, that there are people designing, say computers for controlling plants. Uh, that was something my high school mind didn't really think about as an actual job. I thought just chemical engineers or the computer computer programmers did that. But in my job, they actually want a chemical engineer to program. So yeah. So my name is Austin, and I appreciate talking to you. I hope you have a good day. Thanks.